Let's now look at the EHO planter in detail to see why he so unreservedly recommends it to his customers. First of all, we'll examine a planter off the field. We'll start at the front with the openers. The leading edge is replaceable and can be adjusted for wear. Its depth of work is limited by a simple chain arrangement. For cloddy land or uneven soil texture, a depth wheel can be fitted. This is best demonstrated in work, as we see here. A compression spring mounted on the side of the opener holds it at a constant depth. Tension can be increased for harder soil types. A high percentage of potato land is now de-stoned or declodded. Here we offer a kit which lifts the planter 6 inches to keep the drive chains clear of the soil. A useful feature of the planter is the ease with which seed spacing can be altered. It is just a matter of taking off the tension and slipping the chain from one cog to the next. 2 alternative cup inserts can be fitted, the small cup for 25mm seed, and the large insert for big seed and seed that is kidney-shaped. Belt tension is easily released by 2 over-center catches. This allows one row to be stopped, as for example when one is working to a headland. To prevent doubles, there is an adjustable agitator. A long divider, set between the 2 rows of cups, dislodges surplus potatoes before they have a chance to be damaged. Heavy-duty spring tension ridges are offered as an option to discs. Powerful springs hold both the ridges and the openers in work. Compression springs with adjusting nuts can be fitted for more severe conditions. The ridger angle can be altered on a simple clamp. The point, which is a wearing part, is easily replaceable. The ridging bodies can be set at different angles to produce varying sizes of ridge, regardless of row widths. Row widths of between 26 and 36 inches can in fact be planted. Up and down adjustment is also easily carried out. A special feature of the 242, as we shall see later, is the belt feed system. This is operated by an electromagnetic clutch, one for each of the 2 belts. Sensors are used to control the movement of the belts. When the crop level at the cup pickup point is low, the sensors activate the appropriate clutch and more seed is fed forward. The sensors are on an adjustable arm and are usually set 6 inches above the base. Depending upon the size of the seed, so the feed control plate is set to prevent bridging. A cab-mounted monitor tells the driver that his feed belts are working correctly. Before we see the planter at work, we will just take a quick look at a 242 modified to lift 24-inch beds. It is clearly a much narrower machine than the standard planter, and it will be noted that this one has been fitted with the optional hopper extension. We'll move now to the field and look first at a Model 242 at work on Mr. Osborne's farm near Ongar in Essex, where the land is heavy clay. He's planting well-chitted seed, loading from a trailer at the top headland. Half a ton of seed can be carried, which allows the planter to travel on average 1,000 yards between fillings. The planter is also equipped with a fertilizer box. Each of the hoppers holds about 1.5 bags, which means it matches the capacity of the potato hopper in terms of distance travelled. An important point to note is that the fertilizer is placed to either side of the tubers and below them via double spout coulters. This method ensures that the root system develops into damp soil. Tests have shown that this has a beneficial influence on starch yield. One of the major features of the standen planter is its ability to handle chitted seed. We can see here how the seed in the hopper is fed gently onto the belts, retaining those all-important chits. From the hopper, the seed is called forward by sensors, but only in sufficient quantities to ensure correct filling of the cups. An absence of tumbling prevents the chits being knocked off. The cup and belt feed, which as we have already seen can be fitted with alternative cup inserts and includes an agitator and divider, takes the potatoes over the top and then places them into the furrow made by the opener. An absence of misses and doubles, together with even spacing and even depth, is a major feature of the planter's delivery system. Once planted, it is only a matter of covering the seed, using on this planter the heavy-duty ridges which are offered as an alternative to the disc coverers. A nicely formed ridge is created even on de-stoned land such as we find in this field. The 242 hopper model is the most popular of our range of planters. Not only is it good for chitted seed, but it is accurate and it is fast. Up to 20 acres a day or more can be planted. All in all, excellent value for money. For those growers who want an even gentler method of planting, Standens offer a version of the 242 which replaces its hopper with a platform. The purpose of this is to allow boxes to be stored on the planter so that they can be fed into the belt feed area one at a time by the operator who rides on the back. 20 boxes or more can be carried, leaving ample room for the operator to move around. He can also view the feed into the cups and can replace any misses as he goes along. This piece of film clearly shows the sensors and the gentle feeding action of the belts. Although at first glance the use of a second man may seem a backward step, many farmers will have, even with a hopper machine, a man at the trailer who has little or nothing to do between refills. With this planter, he can be usefully employed, riding on the machine and ensuring the gentleness of handling. Before we leave the two-row planter, we should note that the standen eho is perfectly at home with unchitted seed. Here we are on a Suffolk farm, where, as is so common, both chitted and unchitted seed will be sown during the season. Unchitted seed allows bulk handling methods to be employed, which certainly speeds up turnaround times. The potatoes feed easily through the belt and cup system, great accuracy being achieved. Whilst with this planter, we can watch how it handles soil at fast forward speeds, and at the same time note the simple action of the chain drive system. The ridges, even at 5 to 6 miles an hour, leave a well-packed ridge with a clean furrow bottom. So far we have been looking at the two-row planter range. It would be wrong, however, to ignore the grower who wants to plant larger acreages. For such customers, we offer a four-row planter, which is in effect a doubled-up two-row, sharing all of the two rows' technical advantages. Where it gains, of course, is in its capacity, because it holds over a ton of potatoes. This means more acres planted in the day, and in a tricky spring, this can mean the difference between seed being planted right or perhaps not at all. Here, for example, a Cambridgeshire grower plants right up behind his cultivation equipment as he successfully beats the threatening weather, which is so typical of an English spring. In concluding this film, we visited a well-known grower, Roger Southwell, who bought 2 standen planters in 1988. Here he is talking to us at Diss in Norfolk. Now, Roger, you bought 2 new standen ehos this year. Can you tell me why?
Yes, there's quite a lot of reasons really, Andy, but the main reasons are, first of all, I needed a planter that would cope not only with unchitted seed, but also with chitted seed far better than I'd ever had a planter to cope with chitted seed in the past. I was totally dissatisfied at the way that we were paying a lot of money to chit potatoes and then knocking a lot of chits off. I looked around the marketplace and really the EO, in my opinion, was the only one that would cope with non-chitted and chitted seed adequately for the amount of acres that I have to plant.
Now, you've had 2 machines since about January, February time. What have you planted now?
Well, by just before the end of April, we'd managed to get 550 or just over acres planted with the two machines.
And you're pleased with the results, are you?
Yes, so far anyway. I mean, obviously we shall be waiting in anticipation to see what the crop's like.
Right.
But at the moment, not only me, but the farm manager and all the men have been quite delighted with the performance of the machines.
Oh, that's good to know. Before we finally ring down the curtain on this film, we should take our camera out to one of the first fields Roger drilled to look at the crop emergence. With the standen planter, your crop too can look like this.
And this is where Standen's new two-stage potato harvesting system comes in. You know, two-stage harvesting has been around for years. Most growers at some time or another use a little lifter, like this 30-year-old Standen machine, and hand-picked behind. What is this if this isn't two-stage harvesting? Potatoes went into store dry, and who then had problems with disease and tuber breakdown, and how much chemical was needed? This is why we believe at Standen there is now a powerful case for re-examining the way we harvest potatoes. Before we look at these, we'll familiarize ourselves with the machinery involved in modern two-stage harvesting. The first stage comprises a flail topper mounted on the front of the tractor with a two-row windrower behind. This creates the windrow, which is left in the open for a period of time before being picked up by the loader. The loader is a modified conventional two-row Standen Statesman harvester, fitted with a windrow pickup kit. Looking first at the topper, this is a new development with a very high specification. Its heart is a sturdy rotor fitted with 74 curved blades. Varying lengths of blade allow it to be set up to match the ridge profile. Chopped material is carried away by a cross conveyor to be left in a wheelie. When two-stage harvesting, an extension elevator is fitted which takes the material across two rows. The topper can be supplied either with its own independent hydraulic system, for normal tractors a lift frame is included, or else without hydraulics for tractors with a front PTO. The windrower is mounted behind the tractor. Conventional Diablo and share lifters feed the crop over a short primary web. The second web is hydraulically driven and has a cab-mounted control unit, so its speed can be adjusted on the move to minimize rollback. Under the web, there is a set of 4 soil guides which pull loose soil into the middle for pressing into a level bed by a roller. This can be water-filled where extra weight is required. 2 discs mould a ridge either side to keep the potatoes in the soil cradle that has been formed. An agitator is fitted under the web, this too being cab controlled. As can be seen, all the soil has been lost before the potatoes pass over the top of the second web on their way to the windrow. Guides draw the potatoes into whatever width windrow the operator wishes to form. The second part of the system is the Standen Statesman harvester, modified for windrow lifting. The modification is a separate lifting trough, which, because it's longer than a conventional lifting system, has a very low angle. This prevents bulldozing and rollback. A powered steel roller is located at the bottom of the web, this being set to run just under the potatoes lying on the soil bed. Once into the harvester, the potatoes flow over a pair of horn rollers, and in this piece of film over a coil and rubber knuckle separator. Because of the high volume of potatoes lifted, 50 tons an hour is not exceptional. The whole discharge system features 1 metre wide webs. So why go to all this bother, and what if it rains? We'll ask two-stage user Roger Southwell to answer the second question first, because it's the one everybody asks.
Yes, I think the question inevitably has to come up, Andy. You're absolutely right. My outlook on that is 2 or 3 points, really. Firstly, the weather forecasting, local weather forecasting via the telephone now is very, very accurate, in my opinion. And if they talked of rain approaching during the course of the day, you obviously wouldn't leave enormous acreages of windrow potatoes laying out to dry. If rain was imminent, then in my opinion all you would do is you would have the windrower immediately ahead of the loader, so that in effect you were not doing anything vastly different to a single stage system. Obviously that's more costly, But I think for just the odd few wet days that we tend to encounter through the course of a season, that's got to be the most economical way out, rather than converting the potato harvester back to a single stage one by putting the shears and the diablos on the front of the statesman.
Let's now look at some of the major pluses of the system. Loading dry potatoes into store virtually eliminates disease spread and tuber breakdown. Windrowed potatoes pick up ambient temperature very quickly. This reduces handling damage and underskin bruising. Any soil adhering to the potatoes soon dries and falls off. This results in a bright finish. A price premium of £40 a tonne is common for a bright sample. Fungicide is more efficiently applied to a soil-free potato, which means less chemical and better control. Skin setting takes place quicker in the air than in the ground. Earlier harvesting means warmer temperatures and easier handling, and the land is cleared sooner. As big a plus for the two-stage system as any is its ability to handle a very